18. Al-Kahf, the cave. This late Makkan chapter was revealed between the 8th and 10th year of the Prophet's mission. Its central theme is the contrasting nature of the spiritual and the material world. One permanent, the other temporary, one mysterious, the other manifest. Humanity is tempted by the attractions of the material world, but fails to realize the importance of spiritual life. In this chapter, these contrasts are illustrated by 5 moving stories, each one representing a feature of spiritual and material life. Each story is followed by a terse and helpful commentary, which instills the love, majesty, and grandeur of God. The 5 stories are: the story of the sleepers in the cave is about young men of faith, serious believers, unwilling to compromise their faith. They confronted society's evil and abandoned their families to save their faith from an oppressive ruler. The story illustrates God's power of resurrection, bringing the dead to life. The story of the poor and the rich man reveals the nature of a greedy, self-centered, and insensitive rich man who is ready to pick a fight. The story of Adam and Satan provides a clue to understanding the cause of spiritual sickness. The story of Moses and Khidr, the sage who explains serendipity, always making discoveries by accidents and sagacity of things which they were not in quest of. The paradox of outward actions and inner meanings. What appears to be harmful turns out to be beneficial, and a loss becomes a gain. The lesson is that we should accept God's will, since his plan is mysterious and full of wisdom. The story of Dhul Qarnayn, the mighty ruler who challenges the view that the world must be abandoned for spiritual growth. It shows that's not necessary to gain paradise. What is needed is God consciousness. The connection between the 5 stories. The underlying theme in these stories is the temptations individuals face. Faith. The young men feared the emperor would forcefully convert them. Our faith is always being challenged by society. How well we face this determines its strength. The company of righteous people can help to develop a strong faith that will resist the wrongs of society. Wealth. We are tempted by wealth. We love it. And when wealth opposes religious duties, we often prefer wealth. We are unable to sacrifice it and unable to spend it for others' good. The solution: avoid attachment to the world. Temptations of Satan. He tempted Adam and Eve. He tempts us all the time. How can we protect ourselves against these temptations? Knowledge, competence, and skills often lead to arrogant behavior. Resistance against this is found in humility, in recognizing one's weaknesses and frailties. The example of the humility of Moses is an excellent model for us. Power can corrupt and lead people to commit atrocities and injustices. Protection against corruptive power can be found in being sincere and genuine in one's desire to serve others. These temptations are the thread binding the stories together. The chapter also features much movement, plodding from place to place. The sleepers of the cave climb a mountain. The rich man and poor man walk to an orchard. Moses travels by foot and boat, and the adventures of Dhul Qarnayn wandering from east to west with his army. Hint: goodness is promised in movement and searching for God's gifts. In the name of God, the kind and caring. All praises are for God, he who sent down the book to his servant. It does not bend the truth, but is factual. So he gives warning of severe punishment and good news to the believers who do righteous deeds. They will have paradise, where they will stay forever. You must warn those who said, God has taken a child. Neither they nor their forefathers had any knowledge. It is an outrageous insult they spout with their mouths. They are lying. So, will you worry yourself to death over their actions? If they don't believe in this message, we've made attractive what is on earth to test who is best in deeds. Eventually, we will turn the earth into a barren land. Messenger, did you know the people of the cave and Al-Raqim were our amazing signs? The young men took refuge in the cave and prayed, "Our Lord, be kind to us and guide us during our test." While they were inside the cave for many years, we blocked their ears, then awakened them to see which of the two groups was better in assessing the length of their stay. We will tell you their story exactly as it happened. They were young men who had faith in their Lord. We increased them in guidance and improved self-confidence. They stood up boldly before their people and proclaimed, "Our Lord is the Lord of the heavens and the earth. Never will we worship gods beside him. That would be an outrageous lie. Our people have taken gods beside him without any clear evidence. Can anyone be more wrong than the one who makes up lies about God?" It was said, "You have now separated yourselves from those people and what they worship beside God. So take refuge in the cave, and your Lord will be kind to you. He will prepare suitable arrangements for you." Messenger, while they laid in the clear opening of the cave, you could see the sun rise, then move away from them and turn to their left as it set. This was from the signs of God. Anyone guided by God is truly guided, and anyone gone astray won't find a guide or a protector. You thought they were awake, but they were asleep. We kept turning them from right to left. At the entrance of the cave lay their dog with its forelegs stretched out. Were you to stumble across them, you would be filled with fear. Turn your back on them and flee. Eventually, we awakened them and they questioned each other. One of them asked, "How long did we stay here?" They said, "We stayed a day or a part of a day." Others said, "Your Lord knows best how long you stayed. Now send someone with a silver coin to town to buy pure food so he may bring it for you." They told him, "Be polite and courteous and don't let anyone know who you are. If they find out who you are, they will torture you or force you to revert to their religion. Then you will never be successful." In this way, we brought them to people's attention so they may know that God's promise is true and there is no doubt about the final hour. The townspeople disputed about what to do with them. Some said, "Erect a building over the cave. Their Lord knows best about them." However, those who had an upper hand concerning their matters said, "We'll build a mosque over the cave." Some will say the people of the cave were 3, and their dog was the 4th. Others will say they were 5, and the 6th their dog. These are mere guesses. Some will say they were 7, and the 8th their dog. Say, "My Lord knows best their number. Only a few have real knowledge of them. So don't argue or ask anyone else about them. Say what's known clearly." When you intend to do something, don't say, "I will do it tomorrow." Instead, say, "God willing, I will do it." Remember your Lord whenever you forget him and say, "I hope my Lord will guide me to the right path closer and closer." People say they stayed in the cave for 300 years plus 9. Say, only God knows exactly how long they stayed. He has the knowledge of the unseen in the heavens and the earth. How wonderful is his seeing and hearing. They have no helper beside him, and he does not allow anyone to share his rule. And recite what is revealed to you from your Lord's book. None can change his words, nor can you find beside him a place of refuge. Keep yourself with those who worship their Lord morning and evening, longing for his pleasure. Don't turn your eyes away from them to seek the delights of worldly life. Neither follow him whose mind is forgetful of our remembrance and follows his whims. His case is beyond limits. Say, the truth is from your Lord, so whoever wants to believe, let him do so. And whoever wishes to deny, let him. We have prepared for the evildoers a fire. Its wall will surround them. When they plead for water, they will be relieved with boiling water, hotter than molten brass that will burn their faces, a dreadful drink and an unbearable place of rest. On the other hand, those who believed and did righteous deeds, we will not waste the reward of those who did good work. They will have everlasting gardens with streams running beneath them. Here, they will be wearing golden bracelets, green dresses with silk embroidery and rich patterns. They will be sitting on couches. What a wonderful reward, an amazing resting place. Tell them the parable of two men. To one, we gave 2 vineyards hedged by palm trees with a cornfield lying in the middle. Both vineyards had a stream running between them, so they produced an abundant crop throughout the year. He had plenty of agricultural produce. One day he said to his friend, as they were talking amongst themselves, I have more wealth and a larger family than you. He walked into his garden with these wrong thoughts and said, I don't think that these vineyards will ever perish, nor do I think that judgment day will come. Even if I was returned to my Lord, I will certainly go to somewhere better than this. His friends said to him as they argued, How can you deny the one who created you from dust and then from a drop of sperm? For me, he is God, my Lord, and I do not associate anyone with my Lord. When you entered your vineyard, why didn't you say, There is no power except that of God? Even if you saw that I was less than you in wealth and number of children, I am hopeful that my Lord will give me better than your vineyards. He could send a thunderbolt from the sky on them and turn the land barren, or make its waters sink deep into the ground so that you wouldn't be able to reach it. So his fruits were destroyed. There he was, wringing his hands, regretting what he had spent on it. The trellises had fallen. He sobbed, I wish I had never associated anyone with my Lord. There was no army that could help him against God, nor could he defend himself. This shows all power belongs to God. The truth, the belief in him, produces the best reward and the best outcome. Tell them a parable of worldly life. It's like the rain we send down from the sky. The soil soaks it, plants grow, then turn into dry straw that is scattered by the winds. God has power over all things. Wealth and children are beautiful decorations of this life. However, the fruit of good deeds will remain with your Lord, an excellent reward and hope. The day when we clear away the mountains, you will see the earth spread out as a vast plain, and we shall gather the dead. No one will be left out. They will be presented before your Lord in rows. It will be said, You have come to us as we created you the first time. You thought we wouldn't fulfill our promise. When the record will be laid out before them, the sinners will be frightened of what they see in it, and they will say, Woe to us! What kind of record is this that doesn't leave out anything small or big? It records everything. They will find everything they had ever done in front of them. And your Lord is not unjust to anyone. And remember when we said to the angels, Prostrate to Adam. They prostrated, though Satan, who was from the jinns, did not. He disobeyed his Lord's order. So are you going to take him and his followers as friends besides me? Yet they are your enemies? What a wretched alternative have the wrongdoers chosen. I did not make them witnesses at the time of creation of the heavens and earth, nor in their own creation. I don't take as helpers those who misguide others. On the day, he will say, Call upon those who you thought were my partners. They will not answer them. We will place between them an unbridgeable gulf. When the sinners see the fire, they will be convinced they are falling into it, and they will find no other place to turn to. We have explained all sorts of lessons for people's benefit in this Quran, but humans are quarrelsome creatures. What stops people from believing and seeking the forgiveness of their Lord when the guidance has come to them? Are they waiting for the same fate as the earlier generations, or for the punishment to be brought right in front of them? The messengers were sent to give good news and a warning. The disbelievers disputed using false arguments to weaken the truth, and they mocked my verses and warnings. Who is more unjust than the one who is reminded of his Lord's verses and turns away from them, forgetting what he is sending ahead of him? We have locked their minds. They cannot understand. We made them hard of hearing, so when you call them to the guidance, they will never be guided. Your Lord is forgiving, kind. Had he punished them for what they did, then it would have come sooner. But there is a fixed time from which they will find no escape. We destroyed these towns because they did wrong. We fixed the time of their destruction. Remember when Moses said to his young servant, I will travel on until I reach the place where the two seas meet, no matter how long it takes. When they reached it, they forgot the fish, which quietly made its way into the sea and swam away. After traveling for some time, Moses asked his young servant, Bring our meal. The journey has worn us out. He replied, Did you notice when we rested at the rock, I forgot the fish? None but Satan made me forget it. Amazingly, it made its way into the sea. Moses said, That's the place we were looking for. So they turned back, carefully retracing their footsteps. They found a servant of ours there, to whom we were especially kind. We taught him our special knowledge. Moses asked him, Can I follow you so you may teach me something of higher guidance, which you have been taught? He replied, You will not be able to have patience with me. How could you have patience about things that you don't fully know? Moses said, God willing, you will find me patient and I will not disobey your orders. The man said, If you must follow me, then don't ask questions until I speak about it to you. So both set off walking along the beach until they got a boat. But when they got off, the man damaged it. Moses said, Did you damage it to drown those on board? You've done an awful thing. The man said, Didn't I say you will never have patience with me? Moses replied, Don't be harsh with me for forgetting. Please don't make my task any more difficult. So they traveled on until they met a boy. The man killed him. And Moses angrily said, You've killed an innocent person who hasn't done anything wrong. You've done a dreadful thing. He said, Didn't I tell you, you will never have patience with me? Moses said, If I ask anything after this, then tell me to leave you. You will have a valid excuse from me. So they set off till they reached a village. Here they asked the villagers for food, but they refused to take them as guests. They found a wall about to fall down. So the man rebuilt it. Moses complained, You could have asked for a payment if you wanted. He replied, We must go our separate ways now. I shall give you an explanation for what you were unable to bear patiently. The boat belonged to poor fishermen. I damaged it because a king was coming after them to forcefully seize all seaworthy boats. The boy, his parents were believers, but we feared he would distress them by being disobedient and unthankful. We hope their Lord will give them a righteous child in exchange, one who will be more caring. The falling wall belonged to two orphan boys in the town. Buried beneath it was their treasure. Their father was a righteous man. Your Lord wanted them to reach maturity so they could dig up their treasure. This was your Lord's kindness. What I did wasn't done by my will. That's an explanation of those events you couldn't bear patiently. They ask you about Dhul Qarnayn. Say, I will tell you part of his story. We established and gave him power on earth and gave him the resources to achieve great things. So he set off on an expedition until he reached the place where the sun sets. He found it setting in a spring of murky water. He found some people there. We said, Dhul Qarnayn, you can reprimand or be kind to them. He said, whoever does wrong, we will punish him. But when he returns to his Lord, the punishment will be dreadful. However, whoever believes and does good deeds will have a beautiful reward, and we will only ask him to do easy tasks. So he again set off on another expedition until he reached the place of sunrise in the east. He found people there who lived in the open without any shelter. So it was, we knew all about him. Then he set off on another expedition till he reached an area lying between two mountains. Here he found people who didn't fully understand him. They said, Dhul Qarnayn, Gog and Magog are making trouble in the land. We shall pay you money if you can build a solid wall between us and them. He replied, the power given by my Lord is enough, but you give me manpower so I can make a rampart between them and you. Bring me pieces of iron. When he had filled the gap between the two mountainsides, he said, blow the bellows. And he made it glow like fire. He then said, bring me molten grass to pour over it. Now they will not be able to cross over it, nor will they be able to pierce it. He told them, this is my Lord's kindness. So when my Lord's promise comes, the wall will crumble to dust, and my Lord's promise is true. That day, the trumpet will be blown. We'll let them surge like waves against each other, and we shall gather them together. That day, we shall introduce hell to the disbelievers, whose eyes were veiled from our remembrance, and they were not able to hear. Do the disbelievers think they can take my servants as protectors beside me? We have prepared hell as hospitality for the disbelievers. Say, shall we tell you who are the biggest losers with respect to works? Whose efforts were misguided, yet they thought they were doing good work. People who disbelieved in the signs and in their meeting with their Lord, so their deeds are worthless. Nor would we give them on the day of judgment any weight. Hell is their reward because they mocked my signs and my messengers. Those who believed and did righteous deeds will have the hospitality of the gardens of paradise. They will stay there forever, never wanting a change. Say, if the seas became ink for writing down the words of my Lord, the seas would quickly run dry before my Lord's words were finished, even if we added sea upon sea to it. Say, I am a human being like you. It has been revealed to me, your God is one God. Anyone expecting to meet his Lord, let him do good deeds and not associate anyone with him from his creation.